Welcome to Macabre Matters, where all matters of the macabre are discussed. From hauntings to legends, plagues to disasters, we have it all right here. Welcome to our third season, Macabre Across the Pond, where we will visit the 5 countries of the British Isles and tell their gruesome tales. This is the second episode of our Wales Month. On today's episode, we are discussing CAREW Castle. Seated on the banks of the River CAREW in Pembrokeshire, Wales, CAREW Castle has a rather lengthy and gory history, stretching back over 500 years. Built in the early 12th century by the Windsor family, later handed over to the CAREW family, the castle has been passed through many hands over the centuries. As an important military stronghold and border fortress between England and Wales, CAREW Castle witnessed vicious battles, violent sieges, and tragic deaths all within its walls. Gerald de Windsor, born 1075, died 1116 or 1135. My sources were very unclear on when he died, but seemed to be leaning on the 1135. Was constable of the castle on behalf of Henry I when he decided to build his own fortification on the CAREW River, some 10 miles from Pembrokeshire. Gerald's fortress was probably built of earth and wooden stakes. This fortress was later replaced by a stone castle. Much of what remains of CAREW Castle today was thanks to Sir Nicholas de Carew, who died in 1311, who was responsible in particular for the east and west ranges of the castle. In the late 15th century, the castle was greatly improved and extended by a very flamboyant character. Sir Rhys ap Thomas, born 1449, died 1525, he altered both the east and west ranges and was responsible for many of the bathstone windows and other features. Gaining the implicit trust of both Henry VII and Henry VIII, it was said that he was to rule this corner of Wales like a king. The final development took CAREW from strong medieval fortress to elegant Elizabethan manor. Sir John Perrott, born 1530, died 1592, built the magnificent northern range with its huge windows overlooking the mill pond. However, he was not destined to enjoy this magnificent new home of his, for he died in the Tower of London before the work could be completed. During the English Civil War, the castle was owned by Sir George Carew, who declared for the king, but was garrisoned at different times by both royalists and parliamentarians, and indeed changed hands approximately 4 times on at least one occasion following a fierce assault. Buildings on the south side, including the kitchens, were slighted to prevent the enemy making further use of the fortress. Following the Civil War, the castle was occupied for some years, but eventually abandoned in 1686. Now in its alluring, dark, and romantic air, it was home to a large population of bats in the area as well as some ghosts. Next part, I shall be quoting Richard Jones, the author of Haunted Castles of Britain and Ireland. In 1100, Gerald of Windsor married the beautiful Princess Nest and built the first castle on this site, which he had acquired as part of his wife's dowry. Nest was the most extraordinary beauty of her age and was also nicknamed the Helen of Wales. By the time of her marriage, she had already acquired a royal lover in the robust shape of Prince Henry, later to become King Henry I, by whom she had the first of her many offspring. She also went on to have 5 legitimate children with Gerald. 9 years into their marriage, Owen ap Adgugan, a prince of Caradongan and Nest's distant cousin, became enraptured by her beauty and stormed the castle, determined to steal her away. Tradition holds that Nest heard her would-be kidnapper banging on the bedroom door, urging her husband to escape down the toilet shaft, and then allowed herself to be carried away to her cousin Darrigan's love nest. I really screwed that up, I apologize. It is unclear whether or not this was an actual kidnapping. Following the intervention of King Henry I, who threatened Owen with terrible reprisals, Nest eventually returned to Carew Castle, though not before she bore Owen 2 children. Gerald avenged his degradation a few years later by killing Owen in an ambush. While Gerald died in possibly 1116, Nest married Stephen, Castellan of Cardigan, by whom she had several more children. Following Nest's death, her spirit remained earthbound as a white lady, whose shimmering form would drift through the corridors, passageways, and stairwells of the subsequent castles that was sprung up on the site of Carew Castle. In the 17th century, the reclusive Sir Roland Rice took up the tenancy of the castle and sequestered himself away in the northwest tower, where his favorite companion was a pet ape from the Barbary coast of Africa. One day, his son eloped with the daughter of a local Flemish merchant named Harrowitz. The girl's father was livid and turned up at the castle to confront Sir Roland. Following a heated exchange, Sir Roland set his ape upon an outraged man. The beast administered a savage mauling, from which the wretched Harrowitz only just managed to escape. As he fled, he cursed Sir Roland and wished the same fate upon him. That night, the stillness of the early hours was shattered by terrible screams from the tower. The servants rushed to investigate and found their master laying dead in a pool of blood, his throat ripped open and his corpse surrounded by blood-splattered furniture and torn tapestries. The ape, which has evidently turned against his owner in the fulfillment of Harrowitz's curse, also lie dead. On certain events, the ape's ghost is said to mount the stairway and climb to the battlements of the northwest tower, from where it emits a loud howl that echoes throughout the night and rebounds around the ivy-clad walls of this intriguing monument. And that's unquote. Today, Carew Castle is still under the ownership of the Carew family, who lease it to Pembrokeshire Coast National Park, and they handle the administration as well as any restoration work.
You know, you struggled a little, but you got through most of the names pretty good.
Hee hee.
So, I got a little confused on one part, because you know how you started with just going through its regular fact-based timeline before we go into the ghost stories?
Yeah.
So it sounded like you said, first it was built by Gerald de Windsor, and then Nicholas de Carew expanded on it, and then Rhys ap Thomas expanded on it again, and then it went back to the Carew family? Or is Nicholas de Carew a different Carew?
No, it stayed in the family once it reached Nicholas de Carew.
Oh, okay, so they were just in the opposite order, so it was first de Windsor who had it, then Thomas had it, and then the Carews had it after Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, so it's just flip-flopped.
Yeah, it flip-flopped for a moment.
Oh, okay. Alright, cool. Was Nicholas de Carew the first of the Carews to get the castle?
Yep.
When was that again?
That was...
Yeah, I was like, I got confused on it because it sounded like you said the first Renos were Carew, and then Thomas came in and, like, added extra to what Nicholas did, and then somehow got back to the Carews.
Yeah. Yes, because... Yeah, so... Nicholas is who went to after Gerald of Windsor, then after Nicholas of Carew, it went to of Thomas, and then after that, like the final development on the castle that made it go from like the fortress to like a very magnificent home, it went to Sir John Perrott or Perriot.
You attempted.
And it Perrot. And he...
Parrot?
Parrot! See, that's what I thought. Yeah, and he was working on, like, the northern range of it, but he never saw the work completed because he was in the Tower of London.
Oh, right. Okay, I remember you saying that now. Okay. Forgot to write him down, so I missed him. And then somehow after him, it went back to the Carews.
Yeah, it was during the English Civil War that Carew Castle was owned by George Carew.
Oh, okay. I understand now. So it kind of just, it was with them for a little bit, it left them, and then they got it back during the war.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
I understand now. I was confused.
It confused me too, because I'm like, wait, did I personally, like, just screw it up, even though I was reading it?
Yeah, I was just like, this is very confusing history, and I thought mine was bad. So, and then you've learned the lesson of don't try to read from the fancy flowery historians, because historians like their flowery language. Always summarize in your own words. You take that lesson from someone who went to history school, who got, like, history degrees. Never try to just read their stuff unless you want to struggle. The way he told it was actually different than the way that I'd heard it. Like,
I know.
Like, the version that...
for me, too.
Yeah, like, the version he told for, Nest and Gerald was the same. I didn't know about Stephen of Cardigan afterwards, because, like, the version I always heard just ended with Owen dying. Like, they ended it there.
Rest.
So I didn't know about Stephen, but she had at least 8 kids. I also didn't know she originally was the mistress for King Henry before getting married to Gerald. So, like, those were the 2 new things for me, because I thought it was just Gerald and Owen. I didn't realize it was Henry, Gerald, Owen, Stephen.
She got around. Homegirl got around.
She got a lot of kids, man. But, so, like, that one for, like, 90%, it was the exact same. I just didn't know the other 2 guys who really aren't that important in the long run. They're just kind of, like, added to. The one that was really different was actually Sir Roland Royce, or Sir Roland Reese, however you say his name. His was the very different one from how I heard the story. I'm
curious, how did you hear the story? Because that one was also new to me, So
the version I heard was, yes, he had the son, and him and his son were really close, but his son, like you said, fell in love with a merchant's daughter. And Dad got angry with him, like, you can't be in love with a merchant's daughter because you are you're a baron, I'm guessing, or a lord, one of the 2. Like, you're the heir, you can't be in love with someone that's a peasant. And it caused them to have such a bad fight that he ended up telling his son, I don't want to see your face, get out of my face. And the son did. He left. And then, like, he essentially went into an alcoholism issue because he felt he was, like, missing his son, but angry with his son, so he became a terrible alcoholic who would, like, take joy making sure everyone around him was miserable.
Oh, damn.
And so people stopped going to his, like, dinners and everything because he would just spend the whole time making fun of them and belittling them until they were, like, really uncomfortable or upset. because this man needed some therapy. So eventually,
Yikes.
everyone ostracized him because of how he was acting. And so because of this, and because he was so lonely, he got the ape. And then he trained the ape so the ape could, like, do things on command, and that was pretty much his only friend, was the ape. So that part was the same. But then the story changed a little bit, where the father of the girl that his son ran away with does come into the story. So that part was similar, but it was that he lived on he was a tenant farmer, essentially, or a tenant merchant, one of the two. He couldn't afford his rent. It was like he only had half the amount, so he was going over to the castle to ask Roland if, like, he could just pay half of it, because that's literally all he had. And Roland got pissed the fuck off, because not only is this man the reason his son is gone in his mind, not him being a fucking asshole to his son. He blamed the man. And now this man is not going to give him the amount of money that he needs to for his rent. And so he sicks the ape on the man. And the man fights off the ape. He does get mauled, but he, like, throws the ape off of him and runs out. And a servant finds him and is like, yo, let's, like, patch you up, give you some food before you leave, because you're, like, covered in blood. The way he trained the ape was with a, like, shrill whistle, by the way, because that comes back up.
Oh, gosh.
So they're just sitting there, and they hear, like, they're in the bottom level in the servant's kitchen, patching up the dude, giving him some food and everything. He's just kind of hanging out with the servants right now. And they hear from upstairs, the lords, like, go laughing, having fun, and then they start hearing the whistle over and over again. And then they hear a blood-curdling scream. And so that's why they run upstairs being like, what the fuck is happening? And he was in, like, the dining hall, you know, where the great fire will be. And they found his body covered in blood with his throat ripped out. And the ape had been, like, thrown into the fire. So, like, to get the ape off of him, he threw the ape into the fire. And the ape laid next to him dead. Like, from burning to death.
Oh, wow.
So, like, that's the version I heard. And I was like, man, yours is so much less gruesome than the version I heard. And also much quicker. Like, mine was like, it took years to get to this point. So it was like, people would hear him walking and stomping around, and his angry pacing, and his maniacal laugh, because this man literally lost his fucking mind. And they would also, like, either see or hear the sounds of the ape. Or see the ape, like, snarling at them. Stuff like that. It's like, that was the version I heard. So that's why I was like, the basics of the story are the same. It's just that little added bits in there of, like, was the ape, how did the ape die? And that version answered it. It got burned to death because he threw it into the fire to get it off of him.
He's like, ah!
Yeah. But yeah, overall, CAREW has some interesting stories with it.
It does. And I did hear about, like, people seeing, or at least hearing the snarling from, like, what sounds to be an ape when they're, like, walking, like, by the castle.
Yeah. So, is CAREW, like, in ruins, or is it a complete castle that people still live in?
I want to say it's... Let me look it up again. I want to say it's a complete castle that people can, like, walk in, because... And, like, I know they have the Pembrokeshire Park, like, to help with restoration and the grounds and everything. Let me see, because what's funny, both castles that I am covering, both are used and open to the public for tours and everything.
Mine technically was too. It's just it's in ruins.
Okay, yeah, it's a park, and you can tour through the castle. And I remember there is also a tidal mill on the grounds that is also said to be haunted as well.
What's a tidal mill?
Mill.
Sorry. What's a tidal mill?
Give me 1 second, because I...
You knew I was going to ask these questions. I haven't even asked you the question I always ask.
Are they living descendants? Yes.
Who am I going to ask the living descendants of?
The CAREW. It's all the CAREW family.
No.
Huh?
Nest. Are there living descendants of Nest? With her 8+ children?
Most likely.
You're like, I am not looking that up.
Okay.
You almost had it that time, though. And no, I would have asked about the CAREWs, but you already said they still live there.
Yes. All right.
You were
Tidal
trying to
mills.
get ahead.
Okay. Tidal mills consists of a dam, a retaining basin, and a float or water wheel that and transform energy of running water to mechanical power to running flour mills, sawmills, pump sewage.
Oh, so it's like hydroponic energy.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Hello, everyone. Editing Kalee here. I'm about to sound like the world's biggest idiot for the next few minutes. Hydroponics is actually a way to grow plants. I meant hydropower. So please enjoy laughing as I just speak out my ass. Enjoy. So the hydroponic system is haunted?
They say, and I'm just like, I don't get it, but let me.
Okay. The very scary hydroponic pump. I was going to ask, do they allow paranormal investigations there?
No. They look like they allow like weddings and like small gatherings, but nothing like paranormal.
Nothing overnight, essentially.
Nothing overnight.
Gotcha. Maybe they will at the hydroponics pump. Because why not have a haunted hydroponics pump? Yes, I know a tilting mill is not the same as a hydroponics pump, but it's funnier.
It's fine, it works. It's just like, what? And basically from what I heard about the mill, it was just people hearing like creaks and groans and possibly thinking it was a spirit. And I'm like, okay, you could just be hearing the groaning inside.
Isn't it a wooden wheel?
It's a wooden wheel in like a stone.
So
like the building itself is made out of stone.
So you're in a stone and wood building and you hear creaks from the wood that is touching water.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Not everything is ghosts, and that's coming from us. Not everything
I was going
is
to say,
ghosts.
not everything is ghosts.
So I don't think the hydro pump is haunted. I think you're just kind of stupid.
Either that or just like, no, it's next to this haunted building, so it's
everything must apparently be haunted next to the haunted building. It's totally not possible for it just to be natural.
Oh, and let me see. Descendants of Ness, you just asked.
I'm going to, I would have to torture you somehow. I would have to try to find a crazy question.
And
there went the light.
Woohoo! Can I just skip? God damn it!
Oh, it's even an ad too, just to torture you.
Yeah, and it says skip in 27 seconds, and I'm like, God damn it! All right. Nest bore Gerald at least 5 kids, so 3 sons and 2 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Through her children by Gerald, Nest is ancestress to the Buchan family, the Tudor matriarch, the Tudor monarchs of England, as well through the Tudors of the Stuarts, as well as of Diana, Prince of Wales, and President John F. Kennedy.
Kennedy is related to Nest?
Yeah!
Alrighty then.
And, okay, her descendants include the Fitzgeralds, Fitzmaurices, De Barrys, Carews, and De Gugongs.
Okay, so the people who are there now actually are her descendants as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah. Look, this lady.
I asked a good question. We even tied back to your family's special interests in the Kennedys.
Yeah. And the Royals.
And the Royals. Like, that was actually surprising.
Yeah. So that was a very good question.
I tried.
Wow. Like, look, with the amount of fucking this princess was doing.
I don't think she was a princess. She was just a lady, right?
Well, it's that princess nest, so...
Oh, okay. I apparently missed the part where she was a princess. That was my bad.
It's fine. But yeah, it's kind of like...
Yeah, I don't think I have any more questions after that. That was really my big ones was, did they allow paranormal investigations still if it was a real castle and if she had descendants? And now the answer is yes, they're still there.
Yep, still there. Yeah,
that's probably the only one that we're going to cover today where the people who freaking built it still live there.
That one. Because that's rare.
Oh, yeah. Especially because it was built... it was, built only like 100 years before Abergavenny was built.
Really?
Oh wait, no.
Wait, so when?
No, they were built around the same time. 100 years after it was built was the Christmas Massacre, because that was 1175.
Yes.
And it was built in about like 1080 or something. I forgot what I said.
Yeah, 1080 for you, and...
So they're about the same age, but they've gone through much different shit.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Let's see, I'm going to tell you the exact... 1087. So yeah, like, they're about the same age, but they've gone through very different shits. I am shocked that yours never mentioned Owen Glendower.
Yeah, no. No, I did not find that name. The only Owen I found was the one that was with Nest.
Okay. Yeah, because, do you know who Owen Glendower is?
Sounds familiar. I probably have heard it multiple times.
Well, he was mentioned twice in mine, so that would help you.
Oh, okay. But, aside from yours, no.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think I have any more questions. Anything else you'd like to add before outro time?
No, I want to say I am good. So let me pull up a lay outro. Thank you for listening to Macabre Matters. This episode was written and hosted by me, Izzy. My research was sourced from, obviously, Richard Thomas. Not Richard Thomas. Great Castles, CAREW Ghosts by Richard Jones, Pembrokeshire Coast, Ghosts of CAREW Castle, Pembrokeshire Coast, CAREW Castle History, Histories and Castles, The Most Haunted in Wales, CAREW Castle, Haunted Rooms, The CAREW Castle Ghosts in Pembrokeshire. Special thanks to my co-host, Kalee, for joining me in.
What am I joining you in?
My English went out the window again. Thanks to my co-host, Kalee, for joining me in tonight's episode. If you have enjoyed listening to us, please give the show a review, leave a comment, or share our show with your friends. We can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, YouTube, or wherever else you enjoy listening to podcasts. You can also join our Patreon. Members of our Patreon get shoutouts and videos, can request topics, and receive special live episodes with us. Link to our Patreon is in the description. If you have any questions or comments, email us at macabremattersofficial@gmail. If you have any questions or comments, email us at macabremattersofficial@gmail.com. Also, if you want to get to know us better, please follow us on Instagram and Threads at Macabre Matters Official. YouTube at Macabre Matters Podcasts, and like us on Facebook at Macabre Matters. You can also join our Discord server where you can talk and hang out with us. All links are in the description. Music you are listening to is Winter Breath by Adrian von Ziegler. Thank you, and have a delightfully grim evening.
No stop.
You're getting better at that. Gaining the implicit truth of both Henry VII and Henry VIII, it was said that he was to rule this corner of Wales like a king.
Did you mean implicit trust?
That was it. Thank you for catching my...
No problem.
See, we just go through the normal bloopers with me because...
You haven't even gotten to the Welsh yet. You're struggling on the English.
Caradongan? Prince Carrot. 9 years into their marriage, Owen
Ap Gad Ugan.
Thank you.
No problem.